The floods have claimed another life as the disaster continues in the state's southeast. Let's go straight to Matt Wordsworth on the banks of the Brisbane River. Matt, this is the 9th fatality from these floods.
Thanks, Juanita. Yes, the body of a 76-year-old man was found this afternoon near Esk, northwest of Brisbane. He was driving on Sunday afternoon when floodwaters washed his car off the road. Another person remains missing. This destructive weather event brought more rain than the 1974 floods. Lexi Hamilton-Smith begins our coverage.
Blue skies across Brisbane, but down below a murky unknown. As waters recede, the pungent smell of drying mud and decaying debris float up. Enter the Mud Army Mark II, the spirit of Brisbane, generosity, mateship and kindness.
Everyone's been very generous with their time and coming in to help us out, so it's been great.
Volunteer soldiers eager to help flood-weary battlers get back on their feet. Hundreds remain underwater.
It's just been mind-blowing because it's just been so intense.
Businesses too are battling an almighty job ahead.
Cleaning up is the first stage and then being a customer is the second stage.
Dozens of suburbs remain inundated, the ominous high tides pushing levels higher. They recede only to come up again. At Gympie, Tara Moffat has been through this before.
I actually was suffering really badly in the last couple of days with PTSD from 2011. I thought the only way I can actually get over this is to get out and help someone.
Here at Milton, there's still hundreds of people in these high-rise apartments stuck with no power. We've seen a mum with a baby. We've seen people fleeing with just a couple of bags. Look, they can get out, but they have to navigate waist-deep water. The managers of the building have told us insurers say the damage bill so far is $250,000 just this building alone, and rising fast.
I have no words. I'm broken now. I have friends who've lost businesses, have lost their homes, they've lost everything.
It's heartbreaking. It's not really much else to say. It's heartbreaking, really. Just so many people displaced from their homes.
The army is on its way. The crane that was careering down the raging Brisbane River late yesterday has now been secured, but the enormity of this natural disaster is still sinking in.
That's phenomenal. In 2 to 3 days, 80% of the rainfall that Brisbane would usually receive was during that period.
More than 30 locations across the southeast have received 1,000 millimetres of rain, a drenching greater than the 1974 floods. A 9th person has been found in floodwaters near Esk. Another remains missing.
We do hold grave concerns.
Residents in Brisbane's outer west are still cut off. Supermarket shelves are all but empty. For those losing hope, though, help is here. It will take weeks to clean up the city streets, but the recovery will take years. Lexi Hamilton-Smith, ABC News.
I've spent the day talking to flooded businesses in Albion beside the Brisbane River. Many people say the same thing. They were told it wasn't going to be as bad as 2011, but in fact, it ended up far worse. Some places have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stock.
And everybody was saying it would only come up to here. And so what we did was we sandbagged all the front. We got everything up as high as we could on pallets. We worked here till really late, so it was well past dark. And then we came back. Chantal was back. What time were you back here?
Yeah, by Sunday morning we were underwater completely to about neck height. So obviously all of our stock is completely destroyed. Everything had fallen, even higher shelves couldn't be protected. So
it came through. So if you look at the door, the roller doors, they're all bent. So it actually came through like a torrent.
Oh, so there's a lot of pace to it.
A lot of pace. So we can't get that roller door down or up now. So we've had the roller door.
Security issues and a lot of problems. No electricity, obviously, as well now. Yeah.
I was having a chat to some of the guys just around the corner from you, and they were saying that there was some flood maps issued on Saturday that told them that they weren't going to get hit.
Yeah, no one here thought that it was going to be like this. No. So the information that we received was that it wasn't going to flood. So we were only doing things precautionary, but so many businesses, because of the information, weren't actually even thinking that their business was at risk. But obviously, the reality is when we came down Sunday morning that, it was just absolutely devastating.
Okay, so why do you think the authorities got it so wrong?
I'm not sure the authorities really got it wrong. I just think that maybe we didn't get as much warning maybe as we could, but I think they do their best, but it's really hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, because we've, just so you know, we've had the tide through here again today. So when we came this morning at 5, I was here at 5, it was completely clear. And I called Chantal and said, come down, we're fine. And we started the work, and then we were up to here again.
About knee, yeah.
About knee height by what time?
By about 8:30, yeah.
8:30, we're up to knee height again. And so it came right through again, and then we all went to McDonald's, came back, and we started again.
Yeah,
so,
and it's going to happen again tomorrow morning, right?
Apparently, yeah. So at the moment, we're just taking this small window of time that we can to do as much clean-up as possible. And then hopefully we can save some of the things that we have, and then by tomorrow morning it looks like we're going to flood again.
Well, it looks like you've got some good friends in here helping you out.
Amazing community.
Do you know what? The thing about Australians, it's like I'm saying, it's like a badge of honour. If you're Australian or New Zealander, once you have a problem, everybody mucks in to help. Because we helped at the 2011
floods, yeah, when we didn't think it would happen to us.
And we were clearing out Chinese restaurants at where?
Rosalie,
and now it's us, so, you know.
Okay, well, Yolanda and Chantal, thank you very much for talking to us. Good luck.
Thank you.
South of Brisbane, the city of Logan has been hit hard. Hundreds of homes have been affected, with some suburbs completely cut off. Our reporter Jessica Stewart spoke to one heartbroken family.
Well, I'm just here at Logan home, where I'm at one of the houses that has been severely impacted by this flood. Just to give it a little bit of context, normally the Logan River would be well and truly beyond those trees, about 400 metres away, and it's come right into the McIver's home here. Of course, it did peak. It's currently peaking at the moment at about 11 metres, which is major flood level. I will just chat to homeowner here, Amber McIver, and I guess Amber, absolutely heartbreaking to see just how much damage it's caused to the house.
Complete devastation, complete devastation. My 2 little girls live downstairs, a teenager and an 11-year-old. All of their stuff's gone. We weren't expecting it to come this high. It's definitely well above the 2017 levels, and unfortunately it's still rising.
Can you just tell us how bad it is downstairs?
Oh, it's tragic. The water's up over our knees. They're just about to lose their beds. They've lost all their clothes, their couches, their everything. We didn't have enough time to be able to get it all up.
Emotionally, how are you feeling?
I think I'm starting to go into a bit of shock now. I've been pretty overwhelmed this morning, lots of tears, but seeing all the other houses affected on the street, I'm not the only one. There's a lady down the road she's completely under, which is terrible. People are losing their lives in this flood. We've got a wonderful community here in Logan Home, so they'll get behind us.
Thank you so much for talking to us. And as you can see, yeah, complete and utter destruction in homes along here. Really heartbreaking to see.
And Jessica Rendell is live in Logan tonight. Jess, are people still cut off from their homes?
Indeed, they are, Matt. Now here they're expecting 200 to 300 people to be cut off by these floodwaters. And one of those houses you can actually see behind me here. The water has crept up over their fence and is heading into their lower level. I'm standing on Clark's Road in Logan Home. This is one of around 200 roads cut off by floodwaters. There are also 3 suburbs in the Logan area that are currently cut off by floods too. And authorities are working to help get goods and services into those flooded areas.
All right, thanks, Jess. That's Jess Rendell in Logan. Now the enormous task of cleaning up has begun in Ipswich. Start returning home. The Bremer River peaked at over 16 metres yesterday. One man's been arrested after looting.
Mary and Brian Clements last saw their North Beval home on Saturday.
Oh, dear God, look at that.
Since then, more than a metre of water has surged through.
That was there, and that was on top of there.
Despite the devastation, they're determined to fight back.
You can sit down and cry and go on, but what does that do? Nothing.
Possessions caked in mud are piled onto footpaths.
When it was 2011, I thought it was only going to be a 100-year flood.
This is how Beval looked yesterday, a suburban sea. This is how it looks today. Coffee van owner Kerry Rosenberg lost supplies when fridges began floating.
It's full, but all the milk has now gone off.
But she knows others are worse off.
Oh, poor Snowy.
The one over in the corner house, he's been under this 3 times.
Lorraine Dunn couldn't afford to pay her last home insurance bill. Now she and her partner have lost everything.
We'll get a lot of help. We'll go to St Vinny's and we'll do things like that, and hopefully my one-armed man here is just a real helpful man.
The Premier met with residents who fled their homes for evacuation centres.
The main thing is you're safe. That's the main thing.
At Goodna, floodwaters are starting to subside. Yesterday, this road was underwater. Now it's covered in mud and debris. Residents and businesses, already facing an enormous clean-up, have a new challenge: looters. A 21-year-old man was arrested after burglaries in Goodna and Bundamba.
Queenslanders help their mates and Queenslanders support their mates. And if you're thieving from them, you're not a Queenslander, you're a grub.
But for the most part, as floodwaters recede and damage bills rise, this is a community that bands together.
I think that we will be okay.
Yeah. Toby Jers-Lewis, ABC News, Ipswich.
Well, flood-weary residents in Maryborough are facing their second clean-up of the year. Further south, Gympie recorded its worst flood in over a century.
Gordon Brown has seen a few floods in his 85 years, but this has been the biggest. His Gympie home was awash at the height of the flood. He's lost much of his beloved antique clock collection.
Some of the clocks I had in there, they've been around 90 to 100 years old. Some we've lost, some I can repair.
Yet, with family and friends pitching in, he's keeping his spirits up.
When we're all finished here, we'll have a barbecue and a beer or two, and might go fishing.
Others are finding it harder to see the bright side.
We went to 22.96, which is 4.5 metres inside our shop, which is through the ceiling.
Gympie real estate agent Tom Grady says he's devastated, especially coming off the back of COVID.
And we're just starting to see light at the end of the tunnel, and then to cop this, it's like bashing your head against a brick wall.
The clean-up is overwhelming. The floodwaters have left destruction everywhere you look. Gympie is flood-prone, but even so, locals say they've seen nothing like this latest deluge. It's the town's worst flood in 130 years and the second biggest on record. Up the road in Maryborough, disaster-weary residents are mopping up again, just 6 weeks after their last major flood.
Emotions are starting to heighten because, you know, they've been here a little bit longer than they wanted to be, and they've lost things, and it's a sad situation.
There's people living in this street and around on Queen Street, which this would be their probably 5th flood.
Yet, despite everything he's been through, Jerry Donoghue is taking it in his stride.
Not too stressed this time. It may be stressful when the water goes down and I put the key in the lock and open the door.
The flood peaked at 10.3 metres last night, and it's going to recede slowly.
This means that there will be isolated communities till late into the week, particularly Granville, but elsewhere as well.
When waters do go down, locals will be ready for the big clean-up yet again. Rachel McGee, ABC News, Maryborough.
On the Gold Coast, flood levels have peaked. The Mayor says compared to other areas of the southeast, the coast has dodged a bullet.
As the water recedes, the shock sets in. Greg Christie lost most of his belongings when his Telebudgera home flooded.
We were soundly asleep. Our neighbour very, very kindly knocked on the door and she said to us, "I think you've got an hour, maybe 2.
He's staying with friends for now.
Yeah, the house is unlivable.
The intense weather system caught many off guard, flooding homes and businesses along the coast.
This year, there's literally no words to describe how horrendous that this flood came so quickly and just took everything with it.
Elle Overton's childcare centre will be closed for weeks with thousands of dollars worth of damage.
We've lost everything. There's nothing to salvage. There's not one bit of furniture other than a couple of tables.
Shop owners are going through the painful task of pulling out flood-damaged stock and assessing their losses.
We're looking at 20-odd plus jobs each day that we're not getting to, so that's getting backlogged.
Many are overwhelmed at the help being offered by the community.
our beautiful members, instead of complaining and being sad they didn't get a workout, they came down and instead is cleaning it up, and that is amazing. And it's what's keeping us going at the moment, to be honest.
On the northern end of the Gold Coast, fields are awash as local rivers peak. Mayor Tom Tate predicts the repair bill to be about $10 million.
As a city, we have dodged another bullet in comparison to Sunshine Coast and Brisbane.
Beaches remain closed due to dangerous conditions and a large amount of debris washing up, including livestock. This cow was swept from its paddock and ended up at Duranbar Beach, another unexpected sight in the past few extraordinary days. Heidi Sheehan, ABC News, Gold Coast.